Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Richard Lewis Show. I'm Richard Lewis, Sam's here. Been a fucking while, dude.
I know, it's been ages. May I just say that mix is perfect, mate. That counting, as soon as you started talking, the fade came in. That was tremendous, man. That was probably the best I've ever done in 132 episodes. Yeah, the count was perfect, man.
Well, not bad, well done. You've learned how to count.
I know, just a big fan of it, mate. Finally, see, even people are saying in the chat, mate, they knew.
Man, I tell you. So, look, we'll start with. I mean, you already know about this shit because I was talking about it before on the show. But obviously, and I'll plug Rivalry before we get into it. So obviously, this podcast is brought to you in association with our partner Rivalry.gg. You can go to rivalry.gg/RLS where you can bet responsibly and qualify for up to $350 of VIP bonuses. And if you do that, obviously, you show them that it was worth sponsoring us all along, which I'm sure they probably suspect it wasn't on a daily basis, especially if you haven't even done the podcast for ages. But there's been a good reason why I haven't been streaming, because I know, like, I made a lot of protestations about, I'm going to start streaming daily now. I've got a bit more time. You know, it's between events. It's coming up to Christmas. You know, you got Thanksgiving. You got all these holidays. Well, what promptly happened was I got fucking just bizarrely ill. And by ill, I don't mean, you know, like the Beastie Boys, like licensed to ill. I mean, like, I got fucking ill. Like, fucking... Became
so ill, I just started wearing bandanas around the house, just throwing up signs. I was ill.
But I was not that kind of ill, the bad kind of ill. And basically, what's happened is they're trying to, like, get to the bottom of what's wrong, but I got these, like, fucking... just symptoms, you know, which that will not go away. And the doctor's like, listen, we're going to have to put you on all this medication just to fucking keep you in a state of fucking stasis while we run all this battery of tests on you. And this medication that I'm taking actually fucks me up. I mean, like, it is beyond a joke how fucking insane the medication is. Like, I've had to not take it this morning so I can do the show. Because it's like, which is why we're doing it way earlier in the day. Because I'll have to take it this afternoon and just go to bed. Because what it does is, like, the side effects of this fucking medication are so insane. They're so insane. First of all, like, I said to the doctor, I'm like, are there any side effects to watch out for? He's like, oh, you might get a bit of dizziness, a bit lightheaded. Fuck me. This stuff puts me on my back, mate. This is like smoking fucking heroin. It's unreal. Boom.
Sure, that's not what he's giving him, it. It is America. It's a little bit of fentanyl, mate. It'll take the edge right off.
And one of the symptoms, unfortunately, I know it's not fucking fentanyl, because one of the symptoms is pain. It's all the bad part. It's like all the bad side of a painkiller with none of the pain.
What kind of sound effect is that? Pain.
Yeah. It gives me a banging headache. I've got one now still. So it gives you a banging fucking headache. It puts you on your back and makes you tired. And, of course, here's the other fucking thing. I'm lying in bed. Like I said, we might get interrupted during the show because I've been in bed all week, so I've been bored. So I went out and got myself a fucking Nintendo Switch, right? And the reason I've got myself a Switch is because I'm lying in bed and I can't fucking read. I went and picked up the book. I sound like Chopper there, mate. I can't fucking read. I can't read. It fucks you up that bad. It gives you blurred vision. And it just messes up your head so bad, like you just can't stare.
Just a couple of mild symptoms, you know, dyslexia, complete loss of all motor symptoms, extremely excruciating headaches, just the usual.
Yeah. So I fucking I can't read, Mr. Beasley. I can't read. So yeah, basically, like, I'm just fucking lying there, bored out my fucking nut, drifting in and out of consciousness. Oh, and the other fucking side effect, I didn't even tell you about this. Classic night terrors as well. Like, the old, there's somebody in the room, you know, all the dead people come back and they're just stood in your room with you and you wake up, you know, it's pretty intense. So I've just had a week of that. And and also as well, once you start taking it, you can't stop. That's the other thing. Like, the doctor has to introduce another medication to wean you off this medication.
Fucking hell, but what kind of shit they giving you?
Mate, it's fucking savage. Like, I've never been so fucking messed up off meds. Like, you know, prescribed medication. It's just like, I haven't even been able to stream. I've been too worried. Like, I'll stream for an hour or two and then I'll just turn it off. But then it's like, what? You're away with the fucking fairies, mate. You know what I mean? I might just start fucking saying crazy shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to go fucking full Roseanne Barr, like, you know what I mean? Get wrecked while I'm on meds. So I just got to stay away. I mean, as it is, I think my Twitter timeline's been a bit fucking spicier than usual. But who gives a fuck about that, like? But can't hurt me now. I'm like that blind guy in fucking Raw Deal. See that film? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where fucking Arnie comes in.
It's just funny that you compare yourself to a blind guy when you can't read.
Right. So Arnie comes into this fucking cell, and he's talking to like he's trying to interrogate this he's like a crime lord who's got religion inside, right? And he's wearing these shades, and he's just sat on his cell bed. And Arnie comes in and he goes, "You're gonna tell me where Victor was?" I can't even do accents anymore, man. It's fucked up. Can't even do an Arnie accent. He should be good at that. All right, whatever. He goes, "You're gonna tell me where Victor Roster is?" Victor Roster's the bad guy, the main bad guy he's chasing down. And the fucking the guy just sits and goes, it would be against the commandments of the Lord to rat on one of my brothers. And he goes, "Maybe I will take your testicles." And he's like, "I'm a holy man. I don't need no testicles." And he goes, "How about your eyes?" And he like takes off his sunglasses and he's just blind. So he goes, "You can't hurt me, white boy." It's a great film. I strongly recommend it. So anyway, so we're gonna do a show, but I haven't planned it very well because obviously again my brain's not working at full capacity. So it's not really a cohesive show. It's just like I'm going to talk about a bunch of things for as long as I can do it without spinning out. We'll just fucking see how that
mad carnival, right?
Yeah. So I'll start. You got the doc in front of you, right?
I got it.
Just so I don't have to post all the links to, because I know fucking Skype's fucking having a BG. Yeah. Right. Well, one guy sent me this. It's the top link, the one that says "Box is gone." This guy, Bearded Genius, tweeted this to me and said he wanted to get your reaction to it on the show. So I thought, fuck, we may as well open up with it. It's not linked to anything. Basically, there was like a BBC documentary about Neanderthals, right? You remember those guys?
Right.
You remember them?
Yeah.
You remember the Neanderthals? Yeah. Shit, man. This one time, before we even get into this, I remember, right, we were up at the house where I used to live way back when, and some guy turned up and he was clearly in a fucking state, like he'd done too much fucking E or something, right? And he was fucking tripping balls, because one of the things people don't tell you is if you do like too much of that shit, you will just trip anyway.
Oh, you just lose your mind, yeah.
Yeah, and he was sat there, and he was telling us he had an essay to write, and it was about, and he said like it was about fucking, he was studying like archaeology or something. It was about like Neanderthals, and he'd lost it, mate. His box really had, he was sat there like fucking jaw going like fucking million miles an hour, and he was going, yeah, and the thing was in the 1920s the Neanderthals couldn't get fucking workers' rights, man. I don't know about this, kid. I don't know about you writing this fucking essay, son. You're fucking right. They couldn't get workers' rights. They'd only got extinct fucking 400,000 fucking years prior. You mad cunt.
Nah, this cunt's the last one left. Clearly, mate, the last of the real Mohicans.
I had to sit there as well, because you know what it's like. You can't correct them. You can't correct them when they're that fucked up. It's only going to make it worse. So you just go, oh, yeah. So what happened then? Well, then they campaigned and they got the vote, right? And then I was like, fuck,
When the Neanderthals fought in World War I, nobody gave them thanks, did they?
Oh, no one said anything about the Neanderthals. So anyway, basically, this documentary was about the Neanderthals.
I was all about that guy, like.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, it's all about him. But it's about the Neanderthals and how they used to like talk. Right, and how they would sound, and they brought in some expert, right, to fucking construct how Neanderthals would sound. So I'm just you can just play this, mate. I hope I'll be able to. Can I hear it if you play it?
No. Right.
Am I gonna have to
sync it up?
It?
We'll sync it. We'll give it a 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's like that, is it? Not the 3, 2, 1. Yeah, but I can't hear it through this, can I? So I'll just have to try and play it. But it don't matter. It's your reaction people want, mate.
All right.
So
I'll just listen to it on the stream, mate.
Yeah,
it's only about 4 seconds behind, 5 seconds.
Yeah, but then it'll come through the mic. Yes, no, you've got to play the whole thing. Just watch the whole thing. Just put it on.
Right.
I'll just sit here. Ignore me.
All right, go. Volume up and take it full screen.
And Patsy Rodenberg has just been given the newly created vocal tracks.
Why is she just gripping crystals?
They're like the larynx of a Neanderthal in shape. They got a like Neanderthal skeleton, and they were able to reconstruct parts they never reconstructed
very
before.
Squat. Probably the voice would be higher. So, Elliot, let's try male human voice, count over 3.
1, 2, 3.
Just pitch up your voice.
1, 2, 3.
Now, you might have an idea that a macho sound is low, but that might be very useful, but it gets even more complex.
Gets really bad. Also, as well, the guy, he's such a dateless cunt, isn't he?
Shape would also have affected his voice.
Dateless mess, like.
Oh, come on then, start grunting. Let's get to it, boys.
It's bad, mate.
Oh, mate.
A large and heavy skull.
It's bad.
And most of all, a huge nasal
How many
cavity.
close-ups on this skeleton we need?
Let's just add a bit of nasal now.
1, 2, 3.
Now, the other thing that would be happening, which would actually increase that quality, is a very heavy skull that seems to pull down into the throat there. Now, add to that the fact that they had a fantastic chest, which is a support system of breath, which can produce enormous chest resonance and tremendous power. So I imagine that they wouldn't have subtle sounds. It would be loud, very loud, or very, very loud. And we can try and get that by... I'm now going to engage Elliot by pushing to me. This is actually getting him right into his body. Now, speak.
Why is he doing that?
Huge R.
Then it just then they just blended in. Then they just blended him into the Neanderthal. Like, now I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Like Hunchback of Notre Dame. No, look at this fucking stance he's got.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that Neanderthals didn't sound like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
At all.
Screeching at people. But...
Now, if you think that's fucking mental, right, out of all the stuff I've seen this week, did you see this fucking footage of R. Kelly?
No. What's he doing again, man?
Again, I'm just going to sit here. Like, basically, the show is just going to be a series of silly videos. I just sit there. Basically, I'm starting a reaction channel.
I know.
Richard reacts, but it's not even me reacting. It's just your laugh. So it's going to be good. New channel. Anyway, just have a look. Yeah, mate, have a look at the state of R. Kelly. Like, who would have thought this guy was? Mate, who would have thought that R. Kelly was some sort of sex criminal? Keep watching it. It's unreal.
Why are they wiping his tongue? He's smoking a cigar as well. Like, you just live in it.
It gets worse. Obviously. I was watching
this knob out.
Yeah,
no, it's having a grab. What the fuck is happening, man?
No, but like at this point, I thought maybe you don't want him to do that, like. But then he's full on into it, and then
obviously he is. He just sticks his dick up.
Look at that.
That's mental. Look at his smile.
This is just how R. Kelly
didn't like our last one, man.
This is just how he's rolling, like on a fucking day. Then he's like, oh no, you pinched it a little.
I gotta see what someone does.
What? The thing is,
nothing even happened.
Yeah, I think he's just playing it for life. Here's the thing. Like, I don't know if they know about R. Kelly's history. The last thing you want is to be in that position, because he'll just let it rip. He don't give a fuck. He'll just piss on you.
He'll just piss on you.
He'll just fucking piss on you.
Maybe that's why he pulled away, but he's like, I need a piss. Give him get the back.
Yeah, right. So I was thinking maybe he might have got better. Like he might have just fucking been seeing a therapist or something along those lines.
He's just getting his dick grabbed on stage.
He's still absolutely fucked, mate. He's still R. Kelly. Right then. So what else? What else did I find on the internet that we can loosely talk about? Okay. I thought this was pretty fucking just outrageous, and it ties in with the sex doll thing that we've had on the show. You know, we do have this recurring thing where we're always talking about sex dolls for some reason. We've got this bet going on that sex dolls are going to fucking take over the earth and kill people or something. Well, this was just some fucking tragic shit. Japan, of course, had to be.
Surprise there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, at times, right, I think it's like Japan is just so far ahead.
Yeah, they're ahead of the curve of everything, including creepy sex dolls as well.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like the stuff we haven't even tried yet, they've already got to the creepy stage.
Yeah.
That's how advanced they are, you know? So this is, my sex doll is so much better than my real wife.
What, he's got a wife?
Yeah.
Oh, she let that be bought?
Well, the marriage just isn't working out, and he said because she didn't want to have sex anymore after the first kid, so he got this sex doll to tend to his needs, and now he's in love with the sex doll. Sex dolls, but look, he's taking it out on fucking dates, mate.
Look at him in the bath, like stroking her bro, but
no, but just look at that,
bros.
Look down there where they're taking pictures.
This creepy butt where he's putting her on the bed looks like a fucking CPR mannequin. Look at it. The legs are all stumpy and short as well. But
just to make it worse, he pushes her around in a wheelchair. This is
got her next to a fence.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Scroll through to the third picture in the fence. He's just fucking pushing her around in a fucking wheelchair. Yeah, I know. What's going on here? Yeah. I just hang in 10 with my sex doll.
How does he even carry all that? You've got to carry a surfboard in one arm, a sex doll in the other.
It's just, I mean, fair enough. Motherfucker he's shameless. He's up there with R. Kelly, I think, for just shamelessness. He's just taking it out in public, wheeling it around.
Oh, wait, okay, that was a different doll. I thought he said he lives alone but has an understanding girlfriend. That's someone else, but this says about an understanding in quotes as well. Understanding. Also known as fictional girlfriend.
Yeah. Very fictional. So yeah, I mean, like, it's just mind blowing. Here's the thing: they actually had something in America recently. I read about this, where I mean, you can Google it if you want while I'm talking about it, but just to make sure I'm not imagining things, which is highly likely at the moment, by the way, because of the medication. But I think they actually banned a brothel, a sex bot brothel. So it's somewhere in the.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So go on, I'll type it in. Ban sex bot brothel. Let's see if we can find it. Like, because it was Houston City Council down in Houston.
There's a few as well. I've googled it. There's one in Italy. There's one in Paris.
Right. Here's the thing. I cannot really get on board with the idea of the requirement for a brothel. Do you know what I mean?
It's more just a renting facility, isn't it? It should be more like a Blockbuster. Like, you come in, or like, can I borrow, Lady 7 for a week, please? Yeah. You're 40 quid.
You should just rent
dry cleaning when it comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should just rent.
Who's in charge of cleaning them in between shifts? Like, are you just going in other people's mess, mate? Is it like, oh well, we only clean the bots every 2 hours, mate? If you want to use the same bot, it's just gonna have to be sticky. What the fuck are the rules in these kind of places? How many bots are there?
Well, this is the thing. I have no idea how it functionally works. But again, I don't understand why you would need a brothel. Because, right, effectively, a sex doll is just a mannequin with a flashlight plugged into it.
Yeah.
Right? That's rule number one. That's the reality. Right? Take flashlight, plug it in the mannequin, you now have a functional sex bot. They don't talk or anything. They're posable, right? Which is fine. But the idea of, like, why the fuck would I want to go and interact with a human to get to a sex bot?
Yeah, true. Unless it's like Amazon Prime out the wazoo, as in you go in, you tap your card, you come in, you tap your card on the robot, it comes to life. I am ready to give you pleasure.
Yeah,
make it all
exactly.
contactless, mate.
If it was like
Get
that,
it out.
if it was like that fucking episode of Futurama with Lucy Liu,
Yeah.
right? I'm on board with it. Fine. All the brothels, definitely. That's 100% how it should be.
Unless you
But
get
the
an
reality-
AI sex bot who can work as a receptionist. Now we're talking,
What's
mate.
that? Well,
So not
all right.
all
It wouldn't be a
robots.
sex bot though if it was a receptionist. That's
Nah,
very
it could be.
reductive,
You can
Sam.
do both.
Very reductive.
Why
Well, it does
not?
both.
She
doesn't
can
it?
work at the brothel. They take turns. It's not the same receptionist every day.
What if? But why? What if it just doesn't
Because
want
the
to?
real money's in taking the flashlight dick, innit? Surely the person... I mean, nobody's getting paid. I don't even know what I'm on about. Nobody's paying the robots, are they? So it doesn't
So
matter.
why did they fucking turn it down? Actually,
There's
does
a
it
few
start-
that got shut down. Like this one's from March 2017, so I assume it's like one of the first ones that got turned away. Yeah, Europe's first sex robot brothel forced out on base as prostitution. As prostitutes complain of competition, mate. You
Fucking
what?
hell, workers' rights.
Yeah. Oh, fucking
What a-
loudvideos.com.
what-
Yeah, this one apparently is in Barcelona. Has now moved to
Jesus.
a mystery new location with the receptionist saying the address would only be given out to paying customers.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I know. I mean, they talk about
Workers'
about
rights,
how
yeah.
warehouse workers have to worry,
Yeah.
and train drivers and truck drivers have to worry about automation. I bet you never thought prostitutes would have to fucking worry. You know, it's happening. It's happening. It's
It's
fucking
like taxis and Uber all over again.
crazy shit, man. But yeah, I mean, for me, I wouldn't ban it, obviously, but I think fucking it's just a weird thing, like to want to go to a room. It was like, I don't know if you ever saw them in Amsterdam, but like where they had the fucking wanking booths.
Yeah,
You ever seen that?
Yeah. They have those. I don't know if they still have them in New York, but at one point they were big in New York as well. They had them all over like Times Square and shit, because they were called peep booths or peep shows or something. Like you can go in there, you put like a fucking dollar in, and you can choose a porn video, and it would play the video for it.
Yeah, that's what it
And
got in
there's also
Amsterdam.
ones where you have like group booths. So like two guys can go in there, just look at each other. There's one where there's like just a piece of glass in the middle, but you just wank looking at each other. It's so
Fucking
creepy.
hell.
I know, but
That's
who
a
the fuck
fucking
knows what's
Mexican
going on down
standoff if
there?
ever I heard about
Yeah,
one. You know what I mean?
exactly. First one to jet the
Well,
glass.
you're
loses,
doing
like-
nothing for me, mate. So I better be doing something for you. Oh, we're gonna be here all fucking day. Like, holy shit.
And that's
yeah,
another
like-
place we just like, who's cleaning, mate? Whose job is that? Who's getting the cum squeegee and he wiping down the glass, mate? Get me out.
But yeah, when I went to Amsterdam, they used to have shit like that where it was just literally they were like, oh, you know, you can go in and you can jerk off, and I'm like, yeah, well, what happens when you get in there? Like, what am I jerking off to? And they're like, oh, there's just magazines and stuff. I'm like, what is this? A fucking fucking
Ew,
sperm
that's so
pack?
sticky. Oh,
Yeah.
brat.
Yeah,
The reason I know
Who's
this, I
paying
can't
for
remember
that?
what a comedian
you can
told
do that in the fucking hotel. You
Yeah, exactly.
know what I mean?
The reason I know is because I can't remember what comedian it was, but he told the story is how he used to go in there, like when he used to go to the comedy stores or whatever, and he'd use a dollar bill. You hold the dollar bill to open the door, then you use the dollar bill, put it in the machine, then you take tissues that you got from the toilet to press the button, then you wank in the tissue, and then you throw it behind the chair. And apparently there was just a mass of tissues just on the floor in the room. But so I don't know what state you have to be in to be able to go in there. You're like, I can still bash it out here, I reckon. Yeah, I'll just have a sit down in this sticky chair, no problem.
Yeah, it's not fucking nice. I mean, I just don't understand like why you would want to have a sort of brothel experience attached to this. Yeah, I'm all about like rentals. I think would be better. Like you just rent it for a while.
Again, though, the cleaning issue.
Ouch,
How
yeah.
we got all there needs to be is like if you could interchange the parts that are touched with a penis. You know what I mean? So like the vagina
on.
rubber comes out, the mouth rubber comes
Yeah,
out.
no, that's what it does. That's what they do.
Yeah, but I still want the whole thing cleaned as well. We're gonna have to set up some sort of robot car washing system where you just like hang them on a hook like a butcher, but you just
Fucking
send
hell.
them through thing,
Mate.
jet wash them.
If this is what you like with the bots, what you like with fucking real people, mate?
Well, no, obviously less, but
You know what I mean?
this doesn't have skin, but this is silicon. This just absorbs jet and just lays fucking there, mate, dormant.
Definitely doesn't absorb jet.
No, I bet it does. There's definitely some jet
the bits
seepage
out.
in the silicon.
You take they've got it's a receptacle. You take them out and you just replace them.
Receptacle.
Yeah, if anything,
Like you're
they're
fucking
better
getting
than.
horse semen.
If anything, it's safer than people. You had to think
It might
about
be
it.
safer, but it's gross. But
You don't take out someone's entire fucking vagina after having sex with them, do you, in real life?
no, because I trust them to wash it themselves. Whereas a fucking silicone bot isn't going to wash now, is it?
Yeah, but again, the whole part of the whole vagina is
my point
replaceable.
is, but think of the person who owns a fucking sex doll brothel, but do you really think he's a guy who's got a thorough cleaning record? But
Well, he better had be, because
exactly, yeah.
It's not good for fucking business, is it? Right?
Imagine if you put a dick
if
in
your
there, but it's
customer
just
gets
cold
AIDS,
jet. Oh.
yeah, your customer gets fucking AIDS off a robot. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know when she got it. I'm sorry.
It's not good for business. That
we
is
test
it.
them every week. She must have got it this week.
I gonna got myself a case of that robo AIDS. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's bad for business, dog. Obviously, they got to keep it clean. Got to keep it clean, haven't they? But yeah, I mean, fucking hell. Maybe that's why it got banned, and it wasn't anything to do with a prostitute, prostitution union. Which is crazy. How the fuck do illegal operatives have a fucking union that strong? Do you know what I mean? You've got the teachers' union, the prostitutes' union, and the Teamsters. Anyway, right, we'll move on. Just want to say one thing that I was going to talk a little bit about emojis, right? But I saw something on fucking that was doing the rounds, basically saying how like old people don't understand emojis, right? Which is true. I've seen so many people do this, and it just made me fucking laugh. And this is a terrible example of it that I saw. But like the crying with laughter emoji.
Yeah.
Right. Well, obviously, some people mistake it for just crying, right? And they use it when it's a sad situation, right? And obviously, it's intended for the exact opposite. And then someone had fucking screenshotted this on Facebook, right? You can just see it yourself. It's with great sadness in my heart that my 49-year-old son Shane died this morning, and it's just all fucking crying.
Why would you even put an emoji on it, even if it was the crying sad emoji? But why would you do that?
Mate, it was like when I was watching fucking...
Your son dies, you put out a Facebook status with emojis in the background. Are you mentally ill? If I was that woman's son, I would be so ashamed from the grave.
No, but here's the thing, right? Like, do you remember when... I can't remember what it was, but they were showing fucking, like, an ISIS attack on Facebook. There was, like, some fucking ISIS bombing going on out in fucking Syria or something. They had a live feed of it. And I was watching, like, Facebook. We're broadcasting it on Facebook News or whatever, on some news channel. And obviously on Facebook, you can press all the fucking...
reactions.
They didn't turn off the fucking reactions, right? So you were torn with like a stream just going up the page like that of fucking people crying because people are just getting blown up. But it was just like, and then loads of other people were doing like, fucking omega lulls or something, hearts. It's like, this is the future, Sam. This is what's going on.
So mental, isn't it?
Yeah, just fucking, like. What's happening? Like, emojis are terrible. It was like they're like a massive step backwards in human evolution. I think the idea like you can distill all the complexities of like the human emotion and like complex emotions down to one little funny little cartoon character. But people take them seriously.
We had it with the emoticons, mate. I reckon the emoticons were fine, mate. Little happy face, like the ones you make on a keyboard, Bracket sad, bracket happy, mate. The big D face if you're really happy. We had it covered, mate.
Got some bad news for you, I'm afraid. Without emoticons, there wouldn't have been emojis, would there?
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. But we took it too far, mate. There was no.
We always do. Humans always do, mate. We always take it too far, don't we? It started with abbreviations. That was all right. And then we had emoticons, and that was all right. And then people started doing incredibly long, convoluted ASCII fucking shapes. And I suppose that was all right. There was an art form to it. And then emojis, Sam. Emojis.
Can't stand it.
And people take emojis seriously. Have a look at this story in the Daily Mail. Probably shows you've got a bit too much fucking time on your hands if this is you. But I mean, I do know there are people like this who do get upset over emojis. For example, I've been told by the BBC, if you use, when you do the power salute, if you use a black fist when you're a white person, it's digital blackface. And therefore, it's cultural appropriation, and race isn't a costume, and you can't even use emojis of different colors. So you got to be very careful about it. And then what they've done now is we've put these feet emojis in. There's a new wave of emojis because obviously, what a lot of people realized was, well, not everyone's yellow, are they, Sam? Like so pretty much every face an emoji. They look like the Simpsons, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, that's no good, is it? Because what if I'm not Homer Simpson?
God forbid you use an emoji of something that isn't your exact fucking preference. It's almost as if
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what colour the thing is.
Can't do that, mate. So they brought in a whole new wave of new ones. And this is on iPhone, and it includes feet, right? Now, you can see here they've got 6 different skin tones of feet. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Fuck, I'm gonna piss off.
Staring at his keyboard.
And yeah, yellow, right? And then you've got very, very pale, kind of a Latino. Then you've got like Asian, Southeast Asian, Indian, Pakistani, and then you've got kind of a light brown, and then you've got a very, very dark like African color. Which for me has covered all of the foot bases. I'm sure there's a few people that don't fall into those categories.
I got 6 feet in each foot. 6 feet in each foot. Toes, rather. Right. I'm real. Fuck that.
Are you on them? Are you on the same medication I am there?
I got a fucking tripod feet, man.
Got 6 feet on each foot. Never-ending fucking spiral of
Have you ever seen Spy Kids, but when they turn all the spies into fucking mutants? They did it to me, but give me 6 foot on each foot.
Not gonna lie, Sam, I haven't seen Spy Kids.
Mate, Spy Kids is a fucking banger, but I rewatched it not too long ago to play it and still bang, mate. Still bang. Spy Kids is an absolute bang. You don't know what Spy Kids about? It's got a what's it got what's it called? Rodriguez. That's the one, yeah. And the guy from Machete, that guy. He's in it.
Oh, and Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo's in it. And it's basically just about fucking spies, but the kids have to save the spies, but that isn't the funny part. Like, there isn't really any funny part unless you're Brad, I assume. But the evil guy changes everyone into fucking mutants based on what he changes them in, and then uses them in a kids' TV show. And they just speak like, blah, 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 but then they played it backwards, and they just go, "Flippy's a madman, help us, save us! Flippy's a madman, help us, save us!"
I wish I had the crossbreed button.
Yeah, it's big.
Crossbreed. but I'm too scared to touch the mixer, mate. I've got it.
On the right side, go on, just press the FX button on the right, above the fucking phones. I don't know if it'll work.
The FX button above the phone.
Yeah. And it's off.
I'm not. It's too scary, mate. You're not here to fix it. Anyway, so back to these emojis. What we can do is for the other channel, for Netflix, maybe we should watch Spy Kids and do like.
Fuck yeah, but there's 3 of them. Let's watch every one of them back to back.
Oh, hang on. Like, let me dip my toe in the water. Like, let me see if I like it. Like, you're like one of them fucking, you're like when you're with your partner or whatever, and you're like, oh, we got to spice some stuff up in the bedroom, so let's try some new stuff out. And you go, oh yeah, okay, I'm down for that. Yeah, you're right. Things are a bit stale. Yeah, exactly. And then they come back and go, right, so sniff these fucking poppers. I'm gonna stick this fucking unicorn-sized fucking dildo in our asshole. Well, what? Hang on. Yeah, I thought you meant a bit of dress up or something. Like, not my ass. Anyway, I'm just saying you can go too crazy, you know what I mean? Anyway, right, so emojis, emoji feet. Now, I think this is good because people do have different coloured feet and that, right?
I think this is good. Why do you think this is good, though?
I do. I think this is a big step forward.
Was this needed, but? Was this
Yeah, I think
needed
it's a big step
addition to the
forward in race
emoji
relations,
library?
honestly, Sam. And I think you're being very
Fucking hell.
naive by not agreeing with me here.
I don't
think,
mean the different colours of feet. I just mean feet. Did we need to add feet? How many people are going, I wish I could send a fucking emoji of a foot right now instead of typing out the four-letter word, foot.
Right. The problem you've got is not, okay, well, let's just not have feet. And obviously, people, it's going to come up, isn't it? And then when it comes up, you go, well, you can't just send generic yellow foot, can
You can't
you?
just send words.
No, you can't just send words anymore. So anyway, I think this is a good thing. I think this is a big step forward in race relations. I think this is basically, we're getting there. We're beating racism thanks to initiatives like this. And I can't keep it straight. We're gonna beat racism. We're gonna beat Trump's America, right? With the emojis. And anyway, apparently, yeah, this upset a lot of people because what you probably might not know is if you have darker skin, the bottom of your foot isn't
It's
dark.
like the palms of the hands, right?
Yeah, right. There's no need to have melanin concentration there because it's never exposed to the sun, so you typically don't have melanin density in those parts of the body. And of course, Twitter, they did notice this. And I'm with Taylor Need Dollars when he says y'all. I mean, this is how you know he's obviously woke and has the best interests of everyone at heart. Y'all just going to admit you don't know what black people's feet look like? I mean, he's right. How are Apple out of their fucking minds?
How has he said that? Y'all really just going to admit that? I mean, sorry, so people don't have yellow feet either, really, mate.
We do live in a society, Sam, and this guy's got a fucking point, hasn't he?
Did we ever see the underfeet of a Simpson butt? How do we know the underfoot of the yellow skin is the same? Maybe Simpsons have a fucking pale underfoot as well.
Yeah, it's true, man. I've never seen the bottom of their feet, actually.
Me neither.
Yeah. So yeah, basically there was a little bit of outrage. I mean, I always think these news stories are kind of fucking silly anyway in themselves because they're outrage. The outrage. What you'll always find is when they do these outrages, right? What they mean is we found a bunch of fucking morons on Twitter. Like no one important is outraged by this. It's not like it's the head of fucking ACLU is outraged over Apple's feet emojis. Then it's like you sit up and you take, you pay attention.
Look at the picture that's zoomed in, but.
Right.
Of the Blackfoot emoji. That does look paler to me. Alright, fair enough, it might be not as pale as it should be, but look.
You're not going
The
deep on this.
shading changes right there, you can see it. Right?
Well,
People are
I'm
not losing my mind, look at that. You see the shading change.
It could be lighting.
Lighting? What do you mean it's an emoji, mate? They didn't take a picture of it.
How do you know?
Because it's drawn. They've drawn it with paleness on the foot, mate. They have done it, you can see it.
Well,
even on each of the toes, it's there.
Well, it just wasn't good enough. Fucking scrap it. Get back to the drawing board, and get me some more racially sensitive emojis, please. I think that's very important. Very important. Right. Okay. I also saw something else incredibly stupid. Obviously, it involves Trump. I'm gonna come clean with you, Sam. I am fucking so tapped out.
Mate, right.
With
so
it.
I
I'm
like to
just
go to
tapped
comedy clubs, right, occasionally in London and stuff when I got some
Yeah,
free
yeah.
time. Every fucking time, mate. It's literally no exaggeration. 85% Trump material. Or 85% fuck all them farmers in America. Or it's just every day I'm bombarded with bullshit. I just don't care, mate. Please.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? It's like it's not even Trump to a certain degree. I mean, it is because it's like okay, so there's two things happening, right, simultaneously with the Trump derangement syndrome, the Trump phenomenon, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's two things going on simultaneously. First thing. Obviously, the media, in particular, has gone complete. Like, there's just no ethical boundaries anymore. It's because there's never been any consequences for just the outrageous shit. It's the blanket coverage. When they're not covering Trump, they do stories that allude to Trump. So I mean, you know, I read on the front page of the BBC just out of the blue, there was a piece about Hitler and how Hitler had a relationship with a Jewish girl, right? Like a little Jewish girl. And the photograph of Hitler with this Jewish girl that he had a lot of fondness for, and it was genuine. It wasn't like some contrived photo opportunity. Basically, there was like it was being auctioned off like £10,000 or something. And Hitler was even quoted as saying, "Oh, you know, some busybodies in the party found out that she's Jewish, and now I'm not allowed to talk to her." And, you know, it was on record that Hitler would have happily broke his Jewish prejudice for this, you know, one child who again, there was nothing sinister. It wasn't sexual or anything. He just had a genuine affinity for the kid. And there was this one line in it where it was like, so it just goes to show you can have Jewish family friends and still be an anti-Semite. And I'm like, this is about Trump, innit?
Yeah.
You've hit me with the Trump right at the end. You've hit me with the Trump. So, yeah, I mean, you know, they allude to it, but then they write about it directly. Hang on.
Oh, is he here a knock?
No, sorry. Just my homies mowing the lawn. So it was like, they do that. And then obviously as well, there's just the direct stuff that the media just covers where it's just like, will Donald Trump be impeached? It's like, well, you know, if he's done something impeachable, obviously, yes. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Works.
Like, I don't understand how everyone thinks he'll slip through. Everyone basically who can do something in America is working to get him impeached. If there's anything he can be impeached for, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, of course.
People are acting as if like he'll somehow sliver his way out or something. Literally, everyone's trying to fuck him. If he does something wrong or he's done something wrong, it'll happen.
Yeah, and but it's like it's the endless. When they don't have a news story to be complaining about, they just will have a speculative story. You know, and it's like it's just been for over 2 years, just a non-stop slew. Like Bernie Sanders came out, you know, and says Donald Trump is a xenophobe, a homophobe. You know, like, I mean, that's one. I've never heard that, but whatever, you know, a racist, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay, well, some person said it, so now it's 24-hour coverage about what that person said. And that's the thing. If you ever want to be guaranteed front page news these days, just say something bad about Donald Trump. And you're, I mean, I'm looking at fucking Snoop Dogg, who, lest we forget, is fucking pushing 50, smoking a fucking joint outside the White House where weed is legal. Big protest, big man. Saying fuck Donald Trump, and everyone's going, oh, you know, Snoop's always been switched on and savvy and smart. One of the great thinkers. Do you all forget when he had a mental breakdown, declared he was the reincarnation of Bob Marley, and fucking said he was Snoop Lion?
On Netflix, if you haven't, mate. I think it's called Reincarnated with Snoop Lion. Go watch it. It is a banger, mate. Despite his political views, I can still love Snoop for who he is.
So yeah, brilliant, you know. But it's little things. It's the little lies, like when you know, Kanye had this split with Candace Owens, right? And basically, you know, because she created something called the Blexit, which is meant to be the black exit from the Democratic Party. So she called it Blexit. I mean, brilliant name, Candace, brilliant. Truly inspired. And then she name dropped Kanye as saying Kanye fully supports Blexit, right? And obviously he doesn't. What he's been saying is free thinking. He wants you to go with the party you want to go to, but just have an open mind about stuff. So then Kanye came out and said, I'm going to stop talking about politics. Okay, and I'm just going to focus on creating things because I've been used and my name's been attached to things I don't believe. And the media reported that as him renouncing Trump, but it was nothing to do with it. And it's just this endless slew of like dishonesty. I mean, people think I'm pro-Trump because I come out and defend Trump on the show from time to time. It's not that. I'm not really even defending him. I'm critiquing the media that have. It's like I always say, if he is bad enough, if he has done something wrong, just criticize him on that basis. You don't need to add an extra 10% of hyperbole or lies or anything else. But the media do it every time because nobody ever criticizes them for doing it except the typical branches, the Fox News and all that. And then you go, well, you've got a vested interest. It's bias on your side. Nobody, the middle is this tiny little sliver these days. So that's one thing that's going on. All of that, right? This media bullshit. But then the other thing that's going on is Donald Trump is just a fucking absolute fucking buffoon, right? And
Richard,
just
you always stick up for Trump. You were a Trump supporter.
No, but like just when you hit this lull, just when you hit this fucking quiet lull, he'll just tweet something insane. He'll just tweet something that's just so stupid that's going to get people. Like, it was like, okay, right. The fires in California. Okay?
This tweet was mental, mate. This was mental.
The fires in California. Now, I think we know California has problems. And I think we know that a lot of the money and a lot of the expenditure, and I've been reading up on it, so certainly some of the stuff relating to the Forestry Commission and how you deal with fires and emergency responses and stuff, it hasn't been handled particularly well. And I looked up, I got a bunch of stuff. Maybe it's something I'll incorporate into a show, not this one. But I've said this before. One of the reasons why Obama was well liked and will be remembered 20 years from now, probably he's even fonder, not by his fans, but I think a lot of people who would be detractors of Obama right now, once we get to the inevitable horror of the post-Trump era, because if Trump can slip through, then God knows who else is in America's future, right? I mean, seriously. An Oprah Winfrey, a Kanye West, these are not beyond the realms of possibility anymore. You thought Ronald Reagan, a guy who did a film with a monkey called Bedtime for fucking Bonzo, right? You thought that was as bad as it could get. Well, no, it trust me, we got problems, all right, out here. So fine. And then Hillary Clinton announced she's gonna. Well, one of her aides did a column saying, yeah, she's probably going to run in 2020 again.
Why would you do that? Well, surely you just got to fuck with the Republican Party again.
Oh, someone needs to give her a karate chop to the fucking back of her neck when she goes to fill the fucking forms in. Yeah, it's just this way, Hillary. Fucking please, like. Because
I love the Republican Party just be like, please, not again. Let's not do it again. What if you lose to Kanye?
Yeah, like enough's enough, man. You gotta fucking stop, right? But anyway, right. One of the reasons why Obama will be fucking well loved and well respected is like whenever there was a fucking, I probably said it on the show before, but like one of the things that he did very well was he was a great orator and he was a great statesman. And perhaps more so than any president in the entire history of America, whenever there was a crisis, whenever America was faced with a tragedy, a shooting, or a terrorist attack, or general, just bad news, you could rely on Obama to be in front of a microphone within 5 minutes, addressing the American people, and to do so in a way that obviously he was reading a very carefully scripted thing, but it always felt natural with him. It always felt like it was literally coming from the heart, right? He was like, he was in many ways, he was like a Saturday night talk show guy. He had a level of familiarity and casualness, a charm, and a reassurance and an emotional core. Like when Donald Trump is saying, and our thoughts and prayers. I don't think he gives a fuck. I've never felt that in any of the disasters he's ever commented on. He ever gives a fuck. Maybe it's how he comes across when he's just reading the scripts that his team have given him. Because again, I've seen footage of him backstage where like for example after that shooting when he met all the doctors and he was warm and shaking hands. And when he's gone and met the wives of veterans who've died and they've or called them on the phone, he comes across a lot better in those situations for sure. But nowhere near Obama, right? Now, whether it was contrived or whatever, fuck it. Obama made a believer out of me every time he fucking took to the mic. And sure, he was killing people with fucking drones like he was on a fucking Xbox at 2 p.m. But if a tragedy hit at 3 p.m., he'd be there with a fucking glassy eye telling you how fucking bad how bad it is, but it's going to be all right. We're going to get through it. And Donald Trump just doesn't get why that's important. He just doesn't understand it. So when you have these fires, these are the most horrendous fires that have ever been in California. I mean, like we are talking I think thousands of homes destroyed, right? Maybe more, maybe tens of thousands. We're talking damage to essential infrastructure. We're talking 43 dead. We're talking wildlife absolutely fucking decimated. And Donald Trump comes out and fucking tweets, all of this could have been avoided if it wasn't for fucking democratic policy and mismanagement of funds. Sad exclamation. Like, yo, I saw somebody reply.
People are dead, mate. Come on.
I saw somebody reply, and it was going, people, right? He goes, people are being burnt to death, and Donald Trump's on the side of the fire. You know, it's like, it's so fucking mental. It's like, dude, like, not now.
Afterwards,
2 weeks from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, right? Do the speech and the thoughts and prayers thing and tell us you are going to get on top of it. Do that, right? Come out. 5 minutes, right? Yep, it looks terrible. The fire's out of control. I want you to know we're going to declare a state of emergency in California. Our best people. You're still going to get shit because you're Donald Trump. They're going to call you a cunt. They're going to say it's cynical. They're going to throw everything at you. Acosta's going to be there fucking strangling a fucking intern or whatever, right? Like, it's going to be the usual shit show it is. But at least your supporters can say, well, look, you see, he's doing the right thing. When you tweet, you know, yeah, it's all this misspending. That's what caused it. It's really the Democrats out of the, like, come on. Can we not politicize fire, for fuck's sake?
Blaming each other for fires, man.
Yeah, act of God.
Probably some dumb cunt threw a cigarette more likely, mate, than the Republicans or the Democrats. That's usually what causes the California fires. Just one lonely cigarette that rips through an entire forest.
So it's just like, come on, man. Like, and this is what I mean. So it's like, these are the two things you've got going on simultaneously. And this is the hallmark of the Trump presidency, that the media are on him 24/7 with exaggerations at best, fabrications at worst. I did actually see something which I wasn't going to talk about it. I might shoehorn it in just to bring it up because it was very interesting to me. But when that's going on, you would think Donald Trump would have the wherewithal just to not say the stupid things that he says, and tweets in particular, but he also says them. And it's like he just will not do it. And then it's like every time he does it, it stirs the media up. And I'm also sick and tired of hearing Trump supporters tell me that this is some sort of four-dimensional chess on his part. It's not. It is not four-dimensional chess. The days of fucking... You must realize now, 2 years into the presidency, this motherfucker couldn't play fucking tic-tac-toe. Like, it's not four-dimensional chess that's going on.
If it is, what's the upside? Oh, look, he made himself look fucking unreasonable again and look like he doesn't give a fuck about American citizens dying. Got him. That'll come into play later. Like, what's the off chance of that?
Yeah. It's like, it's just so absurd. So anyway, look, all of that being said, I saw something just stupefyingly idiotic. I mean, it's mind-boggling that people would commit this to paper. It was in Marie Claire. You know Marie Claire? It's a woman's magazine, right? You know, it's quite a famous one. And I just couldn't believe. Like, I've seen some unbelievable things, but this was the worst. Actually, hang on. I think they've actually changed the. I want to get the original. I think they've changed the headline. That's the other classic trick. Yeah. When the headline is stupid, they change the headline. Let me just have a search for it. Yes, they did change it, and yeah. So originally, I'll give you the archive for it. But originally, this article was called "Trump Made Me Regret Adopting My Daughters." All right, which is like, okay, I'm already. Hang on, sorry. Let me just double check it. It's in tiny little letters here. Sorry, how Trump's America makes me regret adopting my daughters. Why Trump's America makes me regret adopting my daughters. They've now changed that, as I'm sure you can see, to the Trump administration has me worried about my daughter's future, because obviously that's a lot less like I
Hating
because
of,
of Donald
adopted
Trump.
children.
I hate my adopted children. But here's the point. It doesn't make it any less dumb because I'll just read it to you. Our daughters came home from China more than a decade ago. The first time their tiny feet touched American soil, we made a big deal of it. We were so happy about everything they'd inherit as newly minted Americans. Our already head over heels love for them, every opportunity we could afford, and freedom from China's oppressive government. But now I worry that we made a tragic mistake. I pulled those two beautiful babies away from a rising power and into a damaged democracy. I brought two girls of color into a society where it's clear that their word and their bodies are worth less than a man's, and where open, overt racism has become even more likely now than it was a decade ago. And unfortunately, my worries aren't exactly tinfoil hat-wearing paranoia. It also goes on to say, and this is a bit mental, we are stockpiling Plan B pills in case my daughter's right to choose disappears. These are like little tiny kids. They're a long way off having sex.
Do they even last that long? But how long do you keep a Plan B pill in a fucking drawer for? But
and also as well, what a weird. I mean, this is like some fucking insane thing to even have in your mind, right? It goes here, right? Because of Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, we haven't even talked about Kavanaugh. Again, I can't
follow all of it. It was too much.
I followed it from start to rotten finish. It's one of the most stupid, cynical, disgusting things I've ever seen. Like it's just insane to me that anybody honestly thought this person should have been punished on this basis. It was unreal. But whatever. That's 2 hours in and of itself. But anyway, Trump promised during his campaign he would roll back Roe v. Wade. I don't actually think he promised to do that. I don't recall him saying that. And a new Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's judicial record made him seem that he would be the man to help do it. Well, two things on that. First of all, the idea that Kavanaugh would roll back Roe v. Wade is based on a 2003 email that got leaked, where he said he didn't think that he felt it could be challenged. Subsequently, he said it's settled law. So there we have it. So a lot of scaremongering there. But he goes, the idea that my daughter may lose the right to control what happens to their body, especially if they end up with a pregnancy that's the result of a sexual assault. I mean, what are you thinking about here? Like, your kids are like 10.
I can't imagine. Right, so this is the kind of shit he's willing to say on the internet and people are judging for. Imagine the mental shit he must be saying to his kids, but imagine how scared those kids must be. He's like, Trump's coming for your pussies! He's not gonna let you fuck anymore! He's gonna make you breed! He's gonna make you breed! We're gonna have to stack all the abortion pills, kids! He's coming for you! He's coming for you now! Like, what the fuck are you saying to these children, mate? He must be so mental.
No, it's insane. It's insane. And look, here's the thing, right?
Or she. I haven't read the author's name yet, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's a woman if they're writing Marie Claire, but who knows? Let's see. Lisa Milbrand. Lisa Milbrand. So all of that's insane. But the most insane thing is the idea that a girl coming from China to America is worse off because Trump's the president. It is some of the most utter madness. Like I say, I'm a member of Amnesty International. You know, I pore over their newsletter every time it arrives and, you know, occasionally get involved and do this and do that. I'm very familiar with the statistics about girls in China and what happens to them. So if you want to know about what they call infant abandonment in China, which is almost exclusively female, by the way, because of the way the government has rules surrounding a limited amount of children. So it's more economically viable to have a boy than a girl. So occasionally girls are just literally, I would say occasionally, I mean, you know, not more often than not, but certainly an alarming amount, more than you'd think. They just abandon them. Also, there's a statistic here. Chinese girls twice as likely to die in the first year of their life as boys. You might go, well, why is that? Well, it's because the families very often don't even bother to get the medical care because it's almost like a blessing if your daughter dies. It's 3 times higher in rural areas for that reason. Second girls are twice as likely to die in their first week. So if you have one and you decide to keep the girl and it's healthy, and then you have another girl, well, that one a lot less likely to make it through infancy for some mysterious reason. Go figure. They have 40,000 orphanages across China, which the overwhelming, the vast majority of kids in those are girls. And one of the biggest places that the girls have to kind of get out of, a life in the system, a life in an orphanage, a Chinese orphanage, which are pretty squalid, a lot of them, is adoption to America. Actually, America is the largest single adopter of Chinese girls. So, I mean, that's just the childhood statistical stuff. But also as well, like just once you talk about, women in Chinese society, the ones that make it through infancy, the ones that don't get abandoned, the ones that are given medical care if they get sick, they have this unbelievable kind of, if you think misogyny and all of that stuff exists in American society, well, let me just read you this article here called "China Needs to Stop the Growing Gender Gap." History has proven that women don't belong in academia, wrote Feng Gang, a prominent sociologist and professor at Zhejiang University. He wrote this on his Weibo account and wasn't fired for that. If a woman in her lifetime has fewer than 2 children, no matter how hard she works, she is destined to be unhappy. And there was also a CEO of one of China's top online game companies said, feminism is what ugly women and stupid women use to repress beautiful women and traditional women.
Reasonable.
So, when he was criticized for these remarks, he said, I would not apologize, not even in 10 lives. Feminists are dogs. So, I mean, this is like the type of thing like you'll get in Chinese society, right? Like, I mean, it's not exactly what you would call progressive. The idea that if you adopt a child who's already in a very bad situation by virtue of being in a Chinese orphanage and you bring them to America where they're going to have a great life and great opportunities and obviously a great standard of care, yeah, but Orange Man bad, So I regret adopting my beautiful daughters. It's such a fucking disgusting. I mean, I don't even know how you type that out and read it and go, oh yeah, this ain't it. This is actually fucked up. Like this is. Of course, I love my adopted daughters. God, how ghastly of me to even have typed that. I'm just really out of whack on this politics stuff. I think I need to take a step backwards. But no. Evidently not. And this is what I mean, it's like when the whole insanity, it just takes over common sense. It really does. So we're going to get back into Trump in just a little bit, but let's have a palate cleanser because that was actually in the stupid news section.
Ginger, man, to get the taste out of my mouth.
Do you want to see some ridiculous lawsuits?
Go for it, man.
Well, okay, so. You like this one, right? Now, you know, for fast food, right? McDonald's, the famous lawsuit, right, is the woman who burnt herself with the hot coffee.
Yeah.
And she sued just the coffee
fucking
was
McDonald's. I don't know if we said it last time, but it is scaldingly hot, but.
Well, so she spilt it into a lap, and so we definitely can't show you the pictures, unfortunately, because there's a vagina right in the middle of them. But it is a lipless vagina. The coffee was so hot it scalded her thighs and burnt her vaginal lips. Her labia just completely fucking ravaged. The coffee was like, if you ever see the wounds that this woman suffered.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
how much did she get? But that should have been straight mills, but.
No, well, because she was an old lady as well. Like, so she's got that like paper skin, And it was like I was brought up because it happened in like the fucking 90s or something. So I was like brought up like, you know, with all the fucking edgy stand-ups doing the whole bit. You know, and you see this, you see this? You see a woman to do McDonald's for hot coffee? I don't know about you. I like my coffee hot. You see this? You know, and it's like, actually, yeah, the coffee was so hot, it like permanently deformed her and, you know, scolded her in a way that was like fucking.
Yeah, that's
outrageous. Yeah. So that's the one that always gets brought up. This, my friends, is what a frivolous lawsuit looks like. This is a McDonald's customer is suing McDonald's for $5 million. It must be pretty important.
This bitch.
Yep. Over unwanted quarter pounder cheese. 2 McDonald's customers in Florida are suing the fast food giant for a hefty sum of $5 million because they say they're being unfairly charged for cheese they don't want on their burgers. Cynthia Kistner and Leonard Werner argue that hamburgers and cheeseburgers are different prices on the menu, but when they order a quarter pounder without cheese, they still have to pay the same amount.
Fucking hell. How many burgers have you bought for that to add up to $5 million, by the way? I don't think that's going to work. Like.
Well, according to the lawsuit filed May 8th in Fort Lauderdale seeking class action status, McDonald's used to sell 4 different quarter pounder options, 2 of which came without cheese and cost between 30 to 90 cents less. But at some point, the lawsuit claims, the restaurant stopped separately displaying these products for purchase on menus and currently lists the availability of quarter pounder with cheese and double quarter pounder with cheese. Since this change, customers have been forced and continue to be overcharged for these products by being forced to pay for 2 slices of cheese, which they do not want, order, or receive to be able to purchase their desired product, the lawsuit claims. McDonald's is being unjustly enriched by these practices because it receives payment for cheese it does not deliver. Surely you just get out of this one by going the extra labor of having to fucking manual. Right. That's what you're paying for.
Also, you just say, fuck you, bud. My menu. I choose the prices. Anything that's got a quarter pounder, there's this price. I don't give a fuck if you ask for it with no burger, but it's still going to be $2.99.
Wait.
That's the price of a quarter pounder.
People are saying the sound's off. What do they mean?
Nah, it's just one guy, but... Well, it was just one guy. People would tell him to refresh.
Because we didn't do a sync test.
Nah, it looks fine, my end, but if it ain't, you'll fix it. But it's too late now.
Fix it in post. All right. Well, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Everyone says it's fine. See.
Right. A McDonald's spokesperson said the company does not believe the claims in this lawsuit have legal merit. The advertised quarter pounder burger comes with cheese. We try to accommodate our customers' requests by allowing them to customize their orders, such as a quarter pounder with no cheese. It's, it's a bold one. $5 million, class action.
It would have been better chance if they, I don't understand why the people who do this don't go and ask for like 10 grand. Because it's more likely McDonald's go, oh, fuck it, yeah, go on in, just have 10 grand, otherwise we're going to have to send a lawyer in, someone's going to have to talk to you, and we're going to have to fucking read the papers, you know what I mean? I feel like we've got a way better chance if you're going to be this frivolous.
Thing is, though, then you open up the fucking door to getting grifted all the fucking time, don't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it depends. Case-by-case basis, isn't it? If there's something that's so ridiculous that they'll never win, then obviously you send the boys in, otherwise you can't open yourself up to that. But
yeah,
if someone, for example, I bet when they heard about Coffee Lady, they definitely went, yeah, we're just going to have to give her the money, boys. I don't think we can walk this one off, really. I don't know what we can do with that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the fucking wounds. There's no way a jury would ever be like, oh, yeah, that's sound.
Yeah. that coffee was fucking hot, didn't it?
Yeah, that coffee was the right temperature, like, for sure.
It burns you vagina lips off. What would it do to your actual lips anyway if you drank him, mate? Your lips are just melting.
Honestly, put it this way. You get some weird people.
You think she just had melty skin, but are you serious?
No. I mean, like, who's drinking the coffee that hot is what I'm saying. Because,
every time I ever had a coffee or a drink or a tea from McDonald's, you literally have to just leave it sit there for 10 minutes before it's even touchable.
But here's the thing, right? Like, I like my stuff to, simmer down a little bit, have a drink, slurp in temperature, you know what I mean? But I used to have an uncle, right? And he was a fucking. I've never seen nothing like it. He used to come right. We do a day's graft, and then he'd be like, "Oh, make a coffee." I'd make a coffee, right, and I would pour him a cup of coffee, and give it to him, and he would drink it and go, "Oh, this is too cold." Like, he can't get it. Physically can't get any hotter.
I've just spoiled it, mate. What do you mean?
Like, it physically can't get any hotter.
If it's any hotter, it'll be steam, mate. Do you know how hot that works?
He'd drink off it and put it down. Well, that's fucking foul, you know. And I'm like,
That's
mate,
fucking
like,
cold, that is.
what do you want? Like, and I used to fucking. I got to a stage whenever I was making him a brew, I used to literally. I was so in sync with the kettle that I would watch the bubbles in it, and I would knew just before the button was going to go up, and I'd get it and fucking launch it, so it was still like bubbling away in the cup, and give it to him. And it was like it was never. Yeah, and take the milk out the fridge so there wasn't this temperature. Like people are fuck. There probably is someone out there that likes their coffee that fucking hot.
Well, you're mentally ill just because you like fucking self-masochism, burning your insides to bits.
Right. Here's another outrageous lawsuit, right, Sam? It's a lawsuit I'm worried about. I'm definitely worried about this one, mate, because this might have repercussions for me. This is in the Deccan Chronicle. Okay, fresh off the press. A woman is suing her ex-boyfriend after his long penis stretched her vagina.
Oh, you said it's to do with you. Is your arsehole still a gate from last? Look, gonna get a claim in, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, you left me with the wide on. But yeah, this is in a shocking and bizarre case, a woman is suing her ex-boyfriend after his abnormally long penis allegedly overstretched her vagina.
I mean, you're bad? What do you mean? You saw the knob for a winner. You could have said, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a bedpost, mate. Where are you going with that?
It's worse because the surname sounds a bit like Mangina. Cylindilly Mangina is planning to undergo reconstructive surgery.
Fuck it. How big's this guy, bud?
I don't know, mate. This is a story from South Africa. I think it's South Africa. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
It even says, notably, it's still unknown how long Celine Dion alleges her ex's penis is.
He's going to have to whip it out in court, mate.
Yeah, that's evidence fucking exhibit A. Slap it on the table. Right where he usually slaps his little gavel, mate. Boom, boom.
That's mad, isn't it? What a mad fucking story that is, like I'm suing you because you got a fucking welt on you, but
I know what? As if that is bad. Like, she was with him for ages, so it obviously weren't a one-time thing. She chose time after time. Yeah, one more.
That's a fucking. But I mean, you know, that's got repercussions. That one.
I'll set a precedent. That one, man.
They're gonna have to get an expert out and go. Vaginas don't work like that.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard many times that is a myth. Yeah. But I guess if it's outrageously big, like, maybe you can do something. If he's if he's packing a traffic cone, it's the thickness you're worried about.
If the internet has taught me anything,
he could have a 4-inch knob, mate, but it could just be like as wide as a fucking barrel.
A fire hydrant. Right, okay. And just while we're being silly and talking about stupid sex stories, I just wanted to get this one out the way because it's just a video, but it's more just the headline, and you'll see the picture when you bring it up, right? So the headline, this is on NBC Philadelphia. I mean, you can play the video if you want, actually. There'll be an advert at the start. But it says here, naked dabbing peeping Tom in a wig terrorizing small New Jersey town.
Of course he is.
What's he doing? Like...
Dab.
No, but like, look, the thing is, they interviewed the woman, right? And she doesn't want to be on camera, so they have to. So it just goes from the interview with the reporter, And then it cuts to the fucking photo of the name because they've got a picture of the guy.
How have you got a picture of it?
I think he got caught on CCTV and he's having a fucking dab. Like, just check it out. Like, just play this. Like, you'll see the picture now. What's he doing? Like, he's wearing nothing but like a fucking Sub-Zero mask as well. Like,
just Naruto running down the street, but damn.
He's having a fucking dab. Like. Why is he just having a dab?
Turn around, trying to.
It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Did he say anything at all?
Like, you don't see a headline like that every day, so. Naked man.
Didn't say a word either, but just remain completely quiet. She said, just
yeah.
September 28th.
Ridiculous.
Now police are looking.
Yeah, what a mess. All right, well, look, just before we start getting serious. Serious. All right. Let's talk about just to show you as well where we're at with American politics. This, if you've ever wondered why some people think maybe that there's some idiots in the GOP, right? That some people do tend to stereotype Republicans, certain Republicans, as not being the most intelligent thinkers when it comes to societal problems. There's a Kentucky governor, right, called Matt Bevin. You might have come across this chap before, and obviously we just had a shooting in America, a really awful one. Ex-veteran with PTSD went and shot a bunch of young adults who were just having a party. Like incredibly, there were some people there who had survived the shooting here in Vegas and got killed there. I mean, if that doesn't underline that maybe there's a few problems, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, so obviously it's the usual debate we have after these shootings, which I'm not going to get into, but you know the one. That it goes like this: shootings, people over here say we've got to ban all guns. It's time to ban all guns. And then the people, I want to say, over here say you'll never take our guns. It's in the Constitution. It's a constitutional right. Come and take them. And then the people over here say, well, surely we could just do some checks and balances. And then people over here go, oh, well, that's really, complicated. And, we can't really do anything about it. And then the people over here go, well, if you do take the guns, the only people who are going to have guns are going to be people who are breaking the law. And what we need good guys with guns, not bad guys with guns. And then the people over here, the one. I mean, at the same time that this tragedy happened, there was another tragedy that happened where there was a security guard, 26 years old, shot two people that were trying to shoot other people. And the good guy with the gun won. And then the police turned up, and because he was a black guy with a gun, they shot him. So you see, the fundamental problems that we've got with the guns, all right, are that you cannot solve the genie's out of the bottle. People are stockpiling guns, selling guns. People are illegally selling guns. People are filing off serial numbers. There's untraceable guns. There's a lot of fucking guns out here because you have the right to arm guns. You ever want to know why police are fucking itchy on the trigger fingers out here? They have to police a nation where everyone has the right to have a gun. They don't. The average police officer doesn't wake up thinking, I'm going to go shoot me some people. They don't want to, but they're terrified because they don't want to get shot. So we exist in this situation, and even if you banned all guns tomorrow, guess what? People are still going to be getting shot and killed every goddamn day in America because you'll never get them all. There's too many of them. They're out there. So is the answer to remove them? Well, then you are definitely saying, well, now you got to break the law to have one. And equally, All the background checks in the world don't make no difference because that guy, that veteran with PTSD who killed a bunch of young people, he'd have passed every check in the book. He'd have passed every check in the book. He was a distinguished service veteran. You know, no history of mental health, no history of, no history of crime. He would have got through every check, and then he snapped PTSD and fucking shot a bunch of people. So you tell me what the fucking answer is. You'd have to go back to the point. Well, first of all, there's only two ways to solve the issue. First of all, you click your finger and all guns evaporate out of existence. Well, second of all, you fix human nature. I don't know if you ever fixed the gun problem in America, but whatever. Anyway, so they've been talking to politicians about how to fix the gun problem, right? And what the root of the gun problem is. So Matt Bevin, because he's a fucking genius, right? He's a fucking genius. He's got it cracked. He knows what the problem is. It's not gun laws, right? It's not gun laws. It's not the Constitution. It's not the Second Amendment. It's not human nature. It's not, it's none of that. Here's what it is. Zombies. It's zombies, right? He was doing a radio interview with a conservative talk show host called Leland Conway. And he said that new laws are definitely not the solution, but we must address the culture of death in media. And when asked what he means about that, he said it starts with everything from the type of entertainment that we focus on. What's the most popular topic that seems to be in every cable television network show? What are television shows all about now? What? Zombies. I don't get it. That's what we are. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
And he said that the violent shows with the zombies in are warping the minds of young, impressionable children, none of which do the shooting, by the way. And he also said, we are a culture that is surrounded by, inundated by, and reward things that celebrate death, whether it's he brought it up again, whether it's zombies in television shows or the number of abortions we have.
Very related, those things, of course.
So, mate, there's nothing I like better than an abortion while I'm watching Walking Dead. I like to just combine both of them where possible. What is this guy fucking talking about? This is a fucking politician. You know what I mean? You think the zombie movies are to blame? You think abortions are to blame for mass shootings? Like, come on, get me the fuck out. I want to get off the wild ride now. Nobody like this. That isn't that somebody. A prominent politician saying something that ridiculous, by the way, not even front page news. That's not even in the news cycle out here. You have to dig to find that story. You have to dig to find that. Like, fuck me, dude. Beam me up. So anyway, right. Let's do it then. Let's talk about the Acosta Trump thing. How are we doing for time, by the way?
Yeah, we're about an hour 40 in. Ish.
I think we can do the Acosta Trump thing, and then we can get the fuck out and go take my meds and fucking lie in bed and not read a book and blah, blah, blah. Because the reason I want to talk about the Jim Acosta and Donald Trump situation is, and I'll feed you links for this one because I didn't do the order particularly well, so don't you worry about the Google Doc. I'll hit you up with it. Yes. So. Right. For those that missed it, there was a bit of a tete-a-tete in the White House press room where Jim Acosta, who is a CNN, the chief CNN White House correspondent, longtime reporter over on the news network, has basically, he was shouting out questions, and Donald Trump said, like, you've had your questions. He had the White House microphone. An intern tried to get the White House microphone back, and Acosta refused to give it to her. And then there was Donald Trump was saying, you've been very rude. You're an embarrassment to CNN. And then the mic was requisitioned and given to another reporter. And then in the aftermath, the White House pulled his what they call hard press credentials. Now, a hard press pass within this context means that you are given access to the White House to do your job. You only get those type of credentials when you've been thoroughly background checked, so you're not a security risk, and you're allowed access to the White House for every press briefing. It's so they don't have to check every time. You don't have to give you a pass every time. These credentials will get you into the White House press room, and you do your thing. And he's had those withdrawn, which doesn't mean he couldn't apply on each basis. It's super impractical to obviously do that because by the time you put in one request, the thing's done, and then you put another and another and another, and he could be on site at the White House, just not in the White House. So it's not like, I think a lot of people have portrayed it as this like super apocalyptic threat to democracy. Again, it's not like China where journalists just disappear. It's not like Mexico where they're just beheaded. This is, you've had your White House press pass removed. Now, look, I'll get into all of that in a second. I want a bit of background. We've talked about Jim Acosta on the show before, right? I mean, that we did last time. I think it was when we were doing the North Korean peace talks with Trump. Jim Acosta was there embarrassing himself like he always does. What you got to understand about Jim Acosta is, and I'm going to show you some examples. Jim Acosta, he is doing two things when he goes to a White House press briefing, and that is that he just wants to yell and shout and basically put himself into the mind of everyone. Look at me. I'm holding Trump accountable. Unfortunately, he never does any hard-hitting journalism. He never asks any real hard-hitting questions that you're going to get answers for in that setting. What he's doing is he's kind of showing, look, he's having his little Frost Nixon moment. He thinks in his mind he is genuinely tackling Donald Trump head-to-head, savage to savage, and he's not. What he's doing is being incredibly disruptive to his fellow journalists. I mean, the only person who should be annoyed at him, it's certainly not Trump. It should be every other journalist that has to exist in his orbit while they're trying to do their job. And I've never liked the way Jim Acosta handles himself, frankly. I think it's, when you go to these press briefings, again, I've never been a political correspondent, right? But I've been to press briefings where journalists are funneled in, for sports events, journalists are funneled in and you get to ask your questions. The rule of thumb is generally you get one question, but if time permits, you can ask one or, a few others. But you might have 30 minutes for every journalist in the room to get their exclusive content, their exclusive quote for their publication. The only reason they've been paid there, they might be, to go there, they might be able to offset some of the costs of having sent a journalist there by getting a unique question with a unique comment, a unique quote that makes you at home click on the website. So in sports, it has massive value. And the understanding is when you're doing it, you don't hog everyone else's fucking time. You don't do it. Just one more question, though. Just one more question. Conor McGregor, just one more question. You don't do it. It's just you're making a fucking fool of yourself. If you've ever seen a post-UFC presser, Dana White's very gracious, but he does say when people ask the same questions as other journalists because they didn't listen or they ask a redundant question, he does say, come on, this is other people's time, and that's the rule. Now, Jim Acosta has been doing this for a while. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find some examples here. I'm gonna mute that. So yeah, here we go. Here's an example. Actually, Nick Monroe, who you might know, did a real super long chain of these, so you can just go through. But this is an example here, the very first example. If you scroll down, where it's the first video, you can see here he's just shouting at Donald Trump while Donald Trump is trying to let another journalist ask a question. Now, again, this isn't truth to power. This isn't you holding Donald Trump accountable. When you do things like this, what you are doing is you are disrupting your other journalists, your fellow colleagues, doing their job. And it's just not fucking professional at all. And you can see he did it again with Sean Spicer back in 2017, where he kept on going and going and arguing with him when he gave him a perfectly valid answer. I think the clip we showed was when he had a fight with Sarah Sanders. The bottom line is there is a long history. If you just go, you can even just scroll through that whole thing, where you will find Jim Acosta basically embarrassing himself and disrespecting his fellow professionals by being a boorish, loud lout. I mean, in many ways, he probably would really resent this characterization, but he is the inverse Donald Trump. He is just a brash, needlessly so, disrespectful, loud, not particularly smart. You know, it's a joke. So the reason I wanted to talk about this thing on the show is because this is the ultimate metaphor for what is happening in America, for the political divide. Because I'm going to show you the video. I'm going to try and get the original video for you, because it's important we get the original with everything that happened. So let me just get it.
Coming from President Trump is when he said, well, I keep hearing it's 17 intelligence agencies that say Russia meddled in the election.
Hang on, I'll let you do it.
Where does that number
you Google that for me, Sam. Just get the original Acosta video. It's like Jim Acosta, intern at the White House. Just let me know when you find it. So yeah, basically, as I said, this was another typical thing. He'd asked one question, he asked two questions. And let's also dispel this myth, right? I'm sick and tired of hearing about how Donald Trump is trying to destroy a free press in America. It's one of the most overhyped, over-exaggerated things. Donald Trump was taking a press conference where he fielded like 65 questions from 35 different reporters or 37 different reporters. This is not somebody who is evasive. I cannot think of a time where he's ever shut the press out, hasn't had press delegations. The idea that Donald Trump is trying to shut down press freedom, and it is fairly absurd to me. I don't really know where people get that from. And again, people always go, oh, but it's whataboutism. I mean, when you look at what like Obama did with changing whistleblower laws and actually spying on and imprisoning journalists, Donald Trump's done some of that to a certain degree. We saw the reality winner situation. Sure. We also saw him, when there was a few leaks coming out of the White House, we saw some investigations. This is pretty much what I'm saying is this is standard MO for the White House, regardless of who the president is. And certainly I don't see how we're going to end up in, a 1984 style fucking state where, the government controls everything that we consume media-wise. I mean, if that was true, if Donald Trump was really pushing for that, I think the headlines might look a little bit different. I think that 92% negative coverage in the media of Donald Trump would probably be a little bit less if Donald Trump was actually fucking, in charge of everything. But here it is. So, I mean, this is like 2 minutes 50.
Yeah,
but
the best full one I can find is from ITV News. It seems
yeah.
The entire conversation.
Fuck it, yeah. Let's do it. We'll just
you can play it from 40 seconds because I've got it there. Nothing's happening.
All right, okay. We'll play it from 40 seconds. Go.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I want it to be a process. And I want people to.
And what I want people to pay attention to while you're just watching this original video is whether or not you think Acosta has kind of maybe overstepped some professional boundaries here. I want you to pay particular attention to when the White House intern comes over and tries to get the microphone back from him, which he is refusing to relinquish because he wants to ask his questions, because his questions are the most important questions in the fucking room. So.
And
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
would
be
ask,
much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation.
There it is.
Concerned that that you may have.
I'm not concerned about anything with the
down.
Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
And to get
Mr.
the microphone back.
I'll tell you what,
there we
CNN
go.
should
Or
be
the other
ashamed of
threat that
itself
Trump was
having
walking
you
away from the
working
whole
for
press
them.
conference.
You are a rude, terrible
So you can stop it
person.
there.
You shouldn't be
Now, Sam, I'll get your opinion on this because I don't think your box is gone. And as I've said, I've been, fucking laid up with medications. To me,
Seems unreasonable as fuck, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I watched this happen initially, my gut reaction was, this is really awkward. Jim Acosta's embarrassing himself again. I just wish he in particular, out of all the press, could just conduct himself with a little bit more dignity. Because, by the way, if you want to call out truth to power and you want to fucking get these people and nail them, if you're in a hysterical, frothing, if you're the guy who keeps shouting and disrupting stuff, like you did at the North Korean peace talks, where literally, it's like this historic moment where North Korea are being warm and receptive to American influence, and you have a guy literally shouting at fucking, Jim King, fucking, I can't even speak. That guy. Fucking hell.
Kim Jong-un. I forgot that as well. And I was like, young King.
Yeah, I thought I was stroking out him. We'll fix that in post. Kim Jong-un, you're shouting. You've got an American journalist shouting, "Will you relinquish your nuclear weapons?" I'm going to tell you, Jim Acosta, the answer to that is no. And that was not what it was about. And why are you even shouting that at a world leader? You fucking pleb. It's ridiculous. When the press are disrupting peace talks, there's a fucking problem, in my opinion. So anyway, that's Jim Acosta. So anyway, my feeling was that he'd gone too far just by shouting, honestly. And then when I saw the bit where he refused to give the mic, I was like, oh, that's not good. Actually, that's really bad. And I was pretty much convinced that there would be some form of comment about it, but I was expecting it to come from CNN, because we got to remember is just prior to this, Jim Acosta, he put a tweet out going, the White House are playing music really loud in the press room. It's another one of Trump's tactics to try and break the press. And somebody replied to it, another verified journalist or something, with "Dear Diary ... And Jim Acosta DM'd him, "fuck you," and then blocked him. And other journalists checked this out, and it was again, it was just glossed over. Jim Acosta's just out of control. This guy's a fucking egotist. He's just DMing people "fuck you, how dare you mock me, I'm beyond mockable." There was this other thing as well. Somebody pointed out that his banner at one point, he's changed it now, it was a picture of Jim Acosta looking at Jim Acosta in a makeup chair, looking at a mirror with Jim Acosta, obviously his reflection looking back at him. It was like if I had to do narcissism is a fucking doodle, whatever that fucking game is where you draw stuff, Pictionary. Right, this is what it would look like. This guy's a fucking whack job. He's so divorced from reality and so far up his own arse, he doesn't fucking realize anymore. That is not that makes you look foolish. But anyway, I thought CNN would comment on it. I thought he would comment on it. I thought there would be an apology. But actually, what happened instead was the White House kind of preempted what was going to happen. And Sarah Sanders put out this really fucking insane, strong wording alongside they were pulling his press credentials, which totally surprised me and just fucking blew me away. That they would go that far, because first of all, this was standard operating procedure for Acosta. He's done this loads. The refusing to relinquish the microphone, it's bad. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was just pathetic, just another extension of how, oh no, I must be able to talk, please, everyone must listen to me. So Sarah Sanders put this quote out saying, "President Trump believes in a free press and expects and welcomes tough questions of him in his administration. We will, however, never tolerate a reporter placing his hands on a young woman just trying to do a job as a White House intern. This conduct is absolutely unacceptable. It is also completely disrespectful to the reporter's colleagues to not allow them an opportunity to ask a question, which I agree with that part at least. President Trump has given the press more access than any president in history. Contrary to CNN's assertions, there is no great demonstration of the president's support for free press in the event he held today. And on it goes until she says, as a result of today's incident, the White House is suspending the hard pass of the reporter involved until further notice. Now, first of all, Sarah Sanders says he put his hands on her, which that demonstrably didn't happen, but he did, as a result of refusing to give the microphone, his arm did lay across her arm. Now you can imagine immediately, this is what I mean about, this is how you know, like the state that we're in when tribalism manifests as mental illness, because I would never in a million years say that Acosta had assaulted that journalist, that intern. I mean, that would be ridiculous, right? I mean, you saw it.
Yeah, definitely not.
Right?
Just acted unreasonably. Is it like, no, I want to talk.
So, there's absolutely no way he put his hands on her even. He didn't. His arm laid across her arm. I'd be more bothered about him just refusing to relinquish a fucking White House microphone that has to go out to other journalists. But then what started happening was, like, there was a lot of fucking extreme right-wing, reaction saying, oh, Jim Acosta's assaulted an intern. Like, the word assault was being bandied around. And I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way. Okay? But then the other thing that happened was Acosta said he never touched her. And then it's like, well, you definitely did. Like, we saw the video. Again, I mean, I want to make sure I'm not crazy. He definitely touches her, right?
Yeah. There's contact, sure.
There's contact, exactly. That's all I'm saying. It's not bad contact. You can't classify it as assault. I wouldn't classify it as him putting his hands on her. But contact is made. They do touch. Okay? Like, there's no... So Jim Acosta said this is a lie. And then repeatedly on CNN, they're saying, oh, well, we never even made contact. Now, in this clamor to sort of like push back on this denial by the CNN journalist, there was a video that was released, and it was on Paul Joseph Watson's Twitter account, right? And what he did was he did like a close-up on the moment when the arms touch to say, look, there it is. That's what the contact was inarguably made. But there was a problem. Because he'd done a close-up and took the video and made it for Twitter, people were saying there were frames missing. People were saying that it was sped up. People were saying that it didn't look right. It didn't look the same. It actually made Acosta look worse. So there was these now, and then Sarah Sanders tweeted the video that came from Paul Joseph Watson out. So let's just talk about a few things that got fucked up here along the way. First of all right, just to give you an idea, Breitbart has a terrible reputation, as you well know. But and obviously I spent some time working over there. One of the rules in Breitbart was that it never, and this was passed out across the board to political writers, to tech writers, to everybody. There is a list of publications you absolutely must never associate yourself with when it comes to reporting. So you never take a story from this publication. You never reference a story from the publications. You don't mention them. They don't exist. They're persona non grata. It was like part of their internal guidelines. And one of the things that they always said was never reference InfoWars. Never. And we all know why. Because for the 1 in a billion fucking stories they get right, like the microwaves being used to record things, that turned out to be true, or the fact that yes, there may be chemicals in the water that making frogs feminized. There's just nonsense. I mean, there's articles about satanic cults and demons and all of this other stuff. It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense publication. I remember when I first stumbled across Infowars. This was at the time when Alex Jones's big thing that he was pushing was the FEMA death camps. That actually FEMA was all a big covert fucking black op fucking plan to basically kill the population by 90%. And then 10%, and then we would go through into the New World Order. And he talked about that for years. I mean, it's not hard to find it. I mean, when people talk about the Sandy Hook crisis actors thing, he was pretty fucking out there way before that. So anyway, so you never referenced Infowars. So why the fucking White House doesn't have the same stylistic, kind of approach as a Breitbart is mind-blowing to me. Because, Donald Trump's talked to Alex Jones. Alex Jones has addressed him. I think he even went on Infowars during the election. Like, generally, it might get you a few extra votes or whatever, but it's probably not worth it because they're not a trustworthy publication. They're not known for being trustworthy, are they? That's not what you think of when you think of Infowars. So if the White House wanted to put a video out there saying, look what Jim Acosta did, pretty sure you have an intern around, maybe the intern that Jim Acosta touched might have wanted to do it. And you have them edit a video and you put it out, right? But what you don't do is take a video from Infowars, because even if it isn't doctored or touched up or modified in any way, it opens the door to that question, because that is the kind of shit that an Infowars would pull. So this video that Paul Joseph Watson had put out, people were saying, it looks weird. There's something up about it. I don't know about this. It makes Jim Acosta look bad. So there's actually a side-by-side comparison of the two videos that somebody put out. And you can have a look and judge for yourself.
You're going to 3, 2, 1 this one, Drive?
Yeah, we certainly
it's
can.
only a 3-second. You can just leave it on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just leave it on loop, actually. Yeah. Okay. So you can see here that they decide to do a close-up of the moment. And in the close-up and the way it's put together, I would say that the arm definitely looks to come down a little bit more fast. It does look a little bit quicker. But what you cannot say in either video is like that no contact was made, right? And one is a little, but I mean, like,
it doesn't look how much quicker.
No, it's slightly, and it's a little. It is a little bit of maybe it's the blur that makes it feel that way.
I guess I think so.
Right.
I mean, because the reason it looks worse is because her elbow bends, so it looks like he's like pushing her arm down, but he isn't, because like she bends her arm to grab the mic, which makes it look like he's like shoving his arm down on hers, but that isn't really what's happening. If you look, like she reaches in, she bends her arm to take the mic, and then she's like, "Why wouldn't I let go of the mic?"
So, as you can see from the tweet here, it says that, I've been looking at this all morning. This is the C-SPAN versus the Infowars clip that the White House tweeted out. Any changes, if they did make them, would be incredibly minor and could possibly be due to working across frame rates and compressions. That doesn't mean there aren't some odd moments in the video. At one point, the woman's hand in the foreground reaches her head 2-3 frames earlier in the C-SPAN than in the Infowars version. It may again be due to frame rate or compression issues. Saying the White House posted a doctored video is a leap I don't think with maybe 75-80% confidence stacks up. So, of course, the news then started reporting that, of course, the White House had released a doctored video. And the issue you had with this doctored video was it was almost like, again, it was like a Trumpian tactic being used by the media, because what they were talking about now was whether or not the video was doctored, not whether or not Jim Acosta had actually made contact with the intern, which of course he had, inarguably. But again, I am the reason why I think this is like such an important thing to talk about is, depending on which side you're on, you actually do see, it's like that dress, one's white, one's blue. I have talked to people about this, and they have said unequivocally, even while watching the video. No, he doesn't touch her. Look, he doesn't touch her. And you're like, no, the arm. And no, look, what? They don't touch. His arm moves perfectly in tandem with hers, and they don't make any contact. That's what I've been told. Equally, I've had people on the right go, what are you talking about, Richard? He fucking karate chops her arm. He does that. He's trying to make her let go. That's like really forceful. That's really aggressive. I'm like, dude, that isn't what happened.
Puts his arm up to like stop her from reaching in, but she reaches in anyway, and then his arm is just like on top of hers, and then he just
like,
holds on to the mic.
Like people are so fucking tribal over this shit right now. They will deny the objective reality one way or the other, and it's insane. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. It is mental illness. It comes back to our old friend. This fucking election drove so many people nuts, and they're stuck that way now, and they'll never go back. They'll never get back. It's crazy. So this is what they had. People then were trying to analyze whether or not that the video was doctored. You can see here on Motherboard, which is a Vice vertical. You had it wasn't doctored. There's no evidence to say it was. That's what they said. I was really surprised actually that Motherboard, a Vice vertical, said went that way on the video, because Paul Joseph Watson put out another video where he showed the Sony Vegas or the Adobe Premiere, whatever software he was using, edit, and you could see there was nothing doing it. Obviously, that's really easy to fake. But he said like it's just compression rates because we do a close up.
Yeah,
there's just blur.
Because you close up, there's more pixels, which means it means they refresh faster, or maybe they refresh slower, which means you won't be able to see the pixels moving at the real time. So it looks like everything's happening quicker when you zoom in, but really it's not.
And you're like, okay, well, a forensic expert, a forensic expert said so it's okay. But actually, then AP News, they had. The Associated Press, they said it was doctored. They said it was. And then they brought in, and then I think it was BuzzFeed as well, had a forensic expert of their own who said that it was manipulated.
The fuck?
And now the White House, so the experts couldn't even agree. There was one video on there where a guy was like literally looking at it frame by frame, and he was going, there's no way this wasn't doctored. The way it speeds up here, they've cut out 3 frames here so they can speed up the frames when he puts his arm down. It's like even the forensic analysis, there's no agreement. It's crazy. I mean, like, listen, I'll say this. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that they decided to speed it up a little bit when he did the chop because they want to twist the knife on CNN. Yeah. InfoWars, put it this way, InfoWars are already a fucking biased, fucked up source anyway for anything. But they have a particular beef with CNN because if you remember, they blame CNN for getting Alex Jones banned on a lot of stuff. They have an active grudge, an active gripe against them. So the idea that they wouldn't see, well, fuck it, we lost a YouTube channel off the back of this, we lost a Facebook page off the back of this, let's try and twist the knife on Jim Acosta. The idea they wouldn't do that, it's laughable. Put it this way, you got to understand, there's a bunch of right-wing hacks out there. They, in the same way they accuse the left-leaning journalists of being activists, they do the same thing. Think of Jack Posobiec, a guy I've talked about on the show before. This is a guy who planted rape Melania signs at fucking Trump rallies to make it look like that's what left it, and then he wants to be called a journalist and take it seriously. Well, no, it doesn't work that way, dog. It doesn't work that way at all. Like, you forfeited the right to ever be taken seriously again when you do shit like that. As a stunt, maybe you think it's cute, but when you're a journalist, you don't pull stunts, you report things. So, but yeah, this story doesn't even end there. You would be like, okay, the prescribed narrative now is that Jim Acosta didn't touch an intern, made no contact whatsoever, was being highly professional. Donald Trump just hates the press, and a forensic expert showed that InfoWars doctored a video, which the White House then tweeted out. Now, that is pretty much the story that you have to go with. I saw it repeated in Slate. I saw it repeated in Vox, I think. This is just how it is now. Of course, you can see from all the evidence laid out in front of you that isn't the full story whatsoever. But then it drops today that, or yesterday rather, I think it was, they're going to have a lawsuit. CNN are going to sue the White House for revoking Jim Acosta's press pass.
What do you mean? How is that possible?
Well, they're saying it's an attack on his constitutional rights. The slight problem was, hang on, because I realized I also didn't include a news report just to show you that CNN are actually doing this. You can see here, and what's interesting is I think they got a First Amendment lawyer that Trump had actually worked with in the past for something. I think he'd represented Trump on something or had consulted with him for some reason, and he's going to represent CNN. But yeah, that's it. It was Floyd Abrams, who's a constitutional law expert. And you can see here he's got a quote here saying, "I think it's a really strong lawsuit. I can understand CNN being reluctant to sue because the president keeps saying CNN is the enemy of me, and CNN might have reluctance to have a lawsuit titled CNN versus Donald Trump. That said, I think they should sue." But the problem that then is, and this hasn't been that widely reported, is there are actually some factual inaccuracies in the lawsuit that CNN have filed. They completely lied about the way Acosta asked the question. In point 33 of the lawsuit, CNN says that Acosta started an exchange with a question about one of President Trump's statements during the midterm campaign, namely whether a caravan making its way to the United States from Central America constitutes an invasion of the country. You heard that in the video yourself. But if you look at it, that the president didn't decline to respond. He basically did answer the question that said that they had a difference of opinion, and that was that. So the idea that Trump was sort of like, evading anything, or that the question was being framed in a kind of like innocent way, it was more of a statement basically that Acosta was kind of making. It also says that the mic is used for all reporters, and all reporters use the mic. That isn't true. It glosses over the fact that Acosta kept interrupting Trump. He said that Trump was unprovoked and started criticizing CNN seconds later after Acosta asked his question, which you can see from the video. That isn't true. It also doesn't make any reference to Acosta physically preventing the intern from taking the mic back. And crucially, it names a reporter who works for the Daily Caller, who wasn't even there, a guy called Chuck Ross. And he says that, Chuck Ross saw that there was, this thing that went down. Chuck Ross wasn't present. Chuck Ross doesn't go to the White House. So, I mean, there's like already some mistakes in the lawsuit as well. So this whole thing's a fucking mess. Like, for me, I've said this. Oh, and the worst part, of course, is the White House. For me, kill it with silence at this point. Nah, of course not. It's the Trump administration. There will be no silence. So they put a statement out. This is again released by Sarah Sanders, saying, "We've been advised that CNN has filed a complaint challenging the suspension of Jim Acosta's hard pass. This is more grandstanding from CNN, and we will vigorously defend against this lawsuit. CNN has 50 additional hard pass holders, and Mr. Acosta is no more or less special than any other media outlet or report with respect to the First Amendment. After Mr. Acosta asked the president 2 questions, each of which the president answered, he physically refused to surrender a White House microphone to an intern so that other reporters might ask their questions." Honestly, I think that is like the first time the White House has sort of classified the incident accurately. This was not the first time this reporter had inappropriately refused to yield to other reporters. Also true. The White House cannot run an orderly and fair press conference when a reporter acts this way. Also true, which is neither appropriate nor professional. The First Amendment is not served when a single reporter of more than 150 present attempts to monopolize the floor. If there is no check on this type of behavior, it impedes the ability of the president, the White House staff, and members of the media to conduct business. So, I mean, for me, like, this is just another example of how shit just gets handled terribly in this timeline. And that is that, first of all, terrible decision from the White House to take the press pass and turn it into a bit of a farce. You know, he should have been issued with a warning, a reprimand. There should have been some back channeling to CNN saying, look, we're thinking about it. So I'm sure CNN would have run that story anyway. But it would have elicited at least more sympathy, because I'm sure a lot of journalists don't like the way Jim Acosta conducts himself. But also, what I would do is I would do something that's been utilized throughout history for a long, long time, and that is that if a journalist is monopolizing the floor, if a journalist is being out of line, and you're there to do a press conference, you just leave the press conference. And you do it every time that journalist acts like a fucking douchebag. And then all the other journalists get on that douchebag and say, listen, we've all got fucking jobs to do. You're fucking this up for everybody. If a press conference is ended early every time, you know, you behave that way, eventually the peer pressure is going to make them stop behaving that way. So, I mean, I would have just handled it like that. I would have just said, listen, if you keep doing this, I'm out. But I don't know. This is, like you say, this is the unfortunate reality we're in, where everything has to be ridiculous. Everything has to end in a fucking lawsuit. Everything has to be like tribal fucking lies, you know, like, oh, Jim Acosta never touched Trump hates the fucking hates CNN, and he set it all up, and blah. He's revoking all their press access. It's like none of that's happening, you know. Equally, oh, Jim Acosta assaulted a young intern. That also didn't happen. So it's like, I don't know. How the fuck do we get out of it? How the fuck do we break the loop? I don't know if we do. I think we just got to fucking hunker down for 2 fucking years and just pretend none of it's fucking happening, and then just wait. Because, you know, eventually, if a Democrat gets in 2020, then everything's going back to normal. Well, like, pretty much this is the state I'm in right now. This is the future you have, right? There's no way Trump gets a second term. There's just no way. But I mean, I think even if another Republican comes up and gets in, it's going to kind of stay this continuation. You know, the tactics are working right now for Democrats. They like it. They like the way this is going. They feel pretty good about it. The only, sure, it sucked that they didn't get in, but I'm sure they got a good feeling about 2020. And this is the methodology. This is what they're going to stick to. I don't want a Republican president in 2020 because I want the world to go back to normal. That's where I'm at mentally.
You think it will, though, if it goes back?
Well, I mean, sure, because then who are the fucking journalists going to be banging on 24/7? They ain't going to be slamming on.
Yeah, but it'll be the.
I mean, obviously, if it's Hillary, then I can't. Yeah. Obviously, in good conscience, like Hillary is a demon. Like Alex Jones is right about that, right?
But I mean, like, imagine even if a Republican loses but gets like 48% of the vote or 47% of the vote, I think it'll still be like this, man. America will still be tearing itself apart, knowing that like there's 50% of people against us.
No, because what happens is the media stops fucking banging on, right? What's the point of attacking? They're not going to attack their president. They're not going to attack the supporters of the losers. Trump supporters would not be being demonized as racists on a 24/7 basis if Trump hadn't got in. What would be the purpose of it? There's much bigger fish to fry. You've got to cover up all the fucking shit that the fucking actual president would be doing. You've got to drive that fucking, get the war drums beating. Let's go to war with Russia.
Yeah, that's Trump isn't going to disappear out of the news either, mate. That's going to happen. He's still going to be about doing some mad shit.
What kind of platform do you think he's going to have?
Mate, people will hire him to go speak 100% just for the banter.
No. But I mean, what kind
He's
of
just
like?
going to keep saying mad shit, mate, and he'll still have the massive fan base who rally behind him, even if he loses or if he doesn't run.
Like I'm telling you, a post-presidential Trump is barely in the news cycle. Honestly, you bookmark this in case I die, right? Remember this. But Donald Trump will be a once every 3 to 6 months, like maybe obviously this doesn't include like the first few months after the presidency, but he will that'll be it. He'll go back to doing a TV show.
Are you so sure he won't win the second one, mate, if he goes?
There's no way. There's no way.
Hillary up again.
Well, I mean, the Democratic Party must have learned by now not to do that. They must have learned that she is what if she was a movie, she'd be box office poison. There's no way. There's no way. But they need to. I mean, first of all, you got this fundamental issue with the two-party system in America, where you need to accept that there are schisms within the party now. Like Trump does not represent Republicans and conservatives, traditional Republicans and conservatives. The MAGA movement is something to itself. Equally within the Democrats, the socialist schism represented by the likes of Bernie Sanders and Oscar Cortez and these new wave of very extreme. Kind of socialist policy people are not the traditional neocon Democrats either. The war hawks, etc. Nothing alike. There is nothing in their policies that overlap. Very little, rather. So, I mean, the fact that it would be great if we could split it into a 4-party system. I think that would give everybody a much more interesting choice. I don't know if America's ready for it because the 2-party system is fucking already tearing it apart. I think if you get divisions within divisions and everything else, God knows what happens. But the bottom line is, Trump had one-term president written all over him right from the get-go. It was a protest vote. It was a fluke. It was a fuck you to the status quo. It was ever since the moment he entered as a Republican potential candidate, going right back to the initial debates when nobody took him seriously until it was too late. They let him do the nicknames. They let him bang on everyone, and everybody was like, "Ha, this is fucking awesome! Yeah, look, Trump's owned it. Everybody love this." And then it was like, oh, wait a minute. Like all the other candidates were like, fucking hell, we're letting Trump bang on us and we're too busy bickering amongst ourselves. And then in that last debate, it was too late. He got the nom. There was no doubt about it. And then you had the whole Never Trump movement, and that didn't fucking shoot him down. But that'll come back. The Republicans are not going to want Trump again because this isn't good for anybody. This non-stop fucking conflict, this endless slew of Orange Man bad, the KKK's in the White House, fucking people, getting this riled up over a Supreme Court justice appointment. There's a level of engagement, right? People honestly think their lives are at stake over this shit. They're not. People have got to a stage now where they are so fucking radicalized in terms of their engagement with politics compared to what they were like last year, the year before. This isn't good for anybody. Politicians like to operate under cloak of fucking darkness. Like, they don't want you out of your armchair marching all of the time. The Republicans don't fucking want that, right? Not just because you're doing it against their party. They don't care. They don't want you to be doing it against Democrats neither. We've got unprecedented voter fucking turnout for the first time in a long time. This is all bad. It makes everything way harder than it has to be. They want you fucking docile. They want it boom and bust. They want it to swing back and forth. You have a go. I have a go. You have a go. I have a go. We pretend to dislike each other. Then we all get in a room and we all start slapping each other's backs, drinking brandy, smoking cigars, and going and bombing fucking foreign countries so we can get oil. That's how we like it. That was how it's meant to be. Right now, this is all just a bit too fucking serious. It's making things a little bit too difficult. And of course, you have Donald Trump, who very much is his own fucking man for good or ill. This is not the political system that the political system wants. So no, Trump is not getting a second term. I'd be even amazed if he ran. I mean, I think that would be shocking enough for me.
All right, he'll definitely run. Surely his ego's too big not to, man. Unless he gets the word from the Republican Party, just like, look, mate, why don't you just go out?
Yeah, no. They'll look. What I suspect is going to happen is that there will be a reason for him to stand down. And he'll get to appoint a successor, wink wink, you know what I mean, and it'll all be on his own terms. It'll make it look like he had a great time, and to continue the Margan movement is this or whatever. It's not. There's because he cannot run and lose. Like, Trump will not allow that in his mind. If he loses, like, what does that say? And he must know he's already pulled off the greatest political fluke, the greatest political upset in history. There's no way he does a second term. There is no way he does a second term. And if the Democratic Party get their shit together and actually put a fucking candidate that runs against him, I mean, like I say, he might not even get the nod from the Republican Party, let alone win a fucking election. So yeah, fuck this. There's no way. Like, but all this Mueller stuff as well. Like, even though I think a lot of it is predicated on absolute bullshit, since he got into the White House, he has been under investigation. It's not good. It's not good for business. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, there's just I just don't see it. I like I say, I mean, if he ends up actually going through, then it's probably going to be a disaster for the GOP, because who knows where we're going to be 2 years from now in terms of what ridiculousness is going to unfold. How much more team banter can we take on his fucking Twitter account? He's done some good things while he's been in office. No president's ever going to do. He's done a lot of good things he won't get credit for in terms of the economy, in terms of fucking job creation. He's absolutely fucking, wrecked ISIS, for all the talk about him being Putin's puppet. He actually fucking fired on Russian soldiers in Syria to sort of deal with that particular issue. He's delivered a lot of promises to his base. I mean, the extremists are upset he hasn't built the fucking wall yet and all that. I mean, I hope he doesn't have enough time to go through with that, because I think it's an economic disaster with that doesn't have a lot of upside for America. But he's done a lot of good things. And, like, all of them economic based. Certainly overall, he's not going to be remembered fondly as a good president just because of what it did to the American zeitgeist. But yeah, 2 terms, absolutely not. No way. Do you want to have a bet on it?
Nah, I'm right, man. I ain't confident in either.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's some fundamental things that can, obviously a lot can happen, but 2 years in politics is an eternity. But I honestly think that there's going to be, the Democratic Party has to start getting its shit together. I mean, I'm not even going to get into all these fucking dubious election practices. Like, the American political system needs a massive overhaul, for me, and it's got a lot of fundamental issues, not least of all people saying zombies are to blame for mass shootings, but whatever. So we'll start wrapping up the show there. Just one thing as well, while we've been talking about right-wing hacks, and I've talked about her before. Do you remember Laura Loomer, the one who said her tires slashed? Remember her? Yep. Right, well, this tickled me. Fucking how stupid do you have to be to even tweet this out? And this was serious. This wasn't a joke. Laura Loomer tweeted out, "Was the FBI surveilling the official Minnesota GOP watch party last night? Multiple attendees reported that their call reception was jammed, and one attendee said a Wi-Fi network called FBI surveillance van popped up on his phone.
Fucking hell.
Was there a threat? What is the FBI hiding?" Guys, go into any fucking neighborhood and you will find FBI surveillance van. It's one of the most unfunny Wi-Fi name jokes of all time. But yeah, she actually fucking tweeted that out. FBI surveillance van. Can you imagine that?
Fucking hell. As if that's what you think the FBI surveillance van fucking Wi-Fi would even be named.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, she thinks that, the FBI go around, like, gonna do some surveillance here. Better let everyone with Wi-Fi know we're in the neighborhood. Like, I mean, fuck me, dude. There's some characters. I will say this. I mean, for all the people that were driven fucking crazy about the election and never came back, just all the fucking, there were some people who should never have had careers, should never have risen to prominence whatsoever, that were able to off the back of just being, hey, look, I support Trump, and loads of people pushed him up, and gave him careers and stuff. It's just like, fuck, get me out. All right then. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So plans for the future. Basically, while I adjust to my medication, I'm gonna see if I'm capable of actually streaming some stuff. I do want to stream stuff. I know everyone's been waiting on the Ninja stream. I want to get that done ASAP because I want to do
Fortnite, mate.
Well, no, I'm gonna do
Black.
No, I'm gonna do Blackout.
Nah, come on, mate. If you
he's
wear
played
the full,
Blackout?
yeah, but come on, what do we know him for?
Well, you don't want
It'd
me
be
to
fun,
answer.
yeah, mate, because you've never played Fortnite. To watch you get absolutely bullied.
I can't do it.
Like kids on a console, dabbing on your dead body, mate. Dab.
And there's no way. I'd have to download it and fucking, come on. I'll weigh it up. I was thinking Blackout would do. It's a battle royale game. They're all the same anyway, guys. So there's that. But yeah, and I don't want to get infected with the Fortnite thing. But the reason I wanted to do it soon in particular this month is because I was going to give the donations to Movember because I haven't fucking actually donated anything yet. And I thought, well, fuck it. If I do the stream and I combine it with the charity thing for Movember, then, it all becomes like an event and then it's sort of more acceptable. So, and rather than I just dressed up like a dickhead for no fucking reason.
You should get a few streamer outfits, mate, if you're going to do a charity thing. You could do 30 minutes Ninja, 30 minutes, I don't know, Shroud. What would a Shroud dress up be like? Just a Cloud9 shirt and a depressed look, I guess.
I don't want to do that to Shroud. I actually like him.
No, but he's sick of the game, so you can't really recreate that part, though, can you? His cosplay would be sick of the game. Not the disrespect, mate. That'd be a big one. That's an easy dress up as well.
Well, again, I like the doc, so...
Yeah, what's wrong with... Yeah, imitations is the most sincere form of flattery, mate.
Yeah, I seem to remember...
mockery just because you're dressing up as them.
I seem to remember the doc getting upset about some of the stuff, when people impersonated him, so...
Fuck him, it's for charity, mate. What's he going to do, complain?
Well, he does have a lot of pull, yeah.
I mean, if he complains about charity, mate, you're winning in the court of public opinion there. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, we'll see. But basically, I was gonna give the donations to Movember, but the problem is at the moment, I'm having to take this fucking medication, so the amount of time I wanted to stream for is sort of not viable and not take it. So I'll have to fucking figure it out. But hopefully, I got some tests this week, and then if they identify a problem, then hopefully I don't have to take this stuff just to keep me fucking alive. That's driving me nuts. But I'll be fucking tripping balls playing Nintendo Switch anyway, so I won't give a fuck. But yeah, so let's wrap it up there. So obviously, shout out to Rivalry.gg, our sponsors. Thanks for sponsoring the podcast. You can go and show them that you like them for supporting us. We're going to Rivalry.gg/RLS. You'll qualify up to $350 of special VIP bonuses, as well as getting notified first off about any special features. We're going to try, and health notwithstanding, do a few more of these because I know we haven't done a regular show for a while, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get away from all the political fucking madness that's going on. And we'll keep YouTube videos coming out and everything else. So it's been fun. I hope you're all well. You take care of yourselves, guys. And I will see you on the next episode of The Richard Lewis Show. Take care.